I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion made by Glenn,
Yes.
second by Tim. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Do we need a roll call?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Levon.
Aye.
Kaitlyn.
Aye.
Ware. Aye. Bounds.
Aye.
McFerrin.
Aye.
5 ayes, no nays.
Awesome. Likewise, for the approval of claims, you've had a chance to look those over. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion made by Steve, second by Jose. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Roll call.
Levon.
Aye.
Kaitlyn.
Aye.
Ware.
Aye.
Bounds.
Aye.
McFerrin.
Aye.
5 ayes, no nays.
First item I have on the agenda is the Crossroads Bank Indiana Bond Bank proposal for 2 trucks, as well as a resolution for that. The park board has 2 small, I guess, Ranger trucks that are pretty shopped. They've been there for a long time. And the park board has recommended the purchase of 2 new trucks for the park board. And we just need a resolution by the council to approve that bond bank purchase, or what do you say?
Lease purchase
Lease
agreement.
purchase agreement.
Yeah, that,
And it should be in the report packet.
We have a master agreement with Crossroads Bank, and so anytime you approve adding additional lease financing to that master agreement, all you need to do is adopt a resolution and authorize the mayor to sign an addendum to that agreement. I think the terms are attached as a sheet there in the board.
Yes, they are.
And I think you indicated it's budgeted for next year.
yeah.
Yes.
It was, look into the possibility of the lease, buying them on time. And bond bank, we don't have to go out and get financing, so the trucks are already here, but we just have to approve the financing.
So I guess this question is, does he need to have the money in their budget to cover the first payment?
And since it's a resolution, we don't need to introduce, right?
No, you just need to approve it.
It's resolution 2023-25.
Do I have a motion to pass resolution 2023-25?
Motion to approve.
Motion made by Steve,
I'll second.
second by Glenn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Roll call.
Levon.
Aye.
Kaitlyn.
Aye.
Ware. Bounds.
Aye.
McFerrin.
Aye.
5 ayes, no nays.
Next item is a resolution. As you all know, probably the park board has approved the red, white, and brawn have their event here at League Stadium this coming year. And in doing so, they would like to have a resolution to allow the sale of alcoholic beverages other than beer and wine. There was a 3-way. And so this resolution is just allowing, since it's going through the Bombers, the lease agreement basically for the alcohol permit for that. We just need a resolution stating the fact that we allow it to do that.
The city currently holds a 2-way permit, and the Bombers baseball manages that permit. But they've also requested that the city consider applying for a 3-way permit at League Stadium. It's only available for League Stadium. And so this resolution would authorize the mayor and clerk treasurer to apply for a 3-way permit in the name of the city at League Stadium.
So, since the concert's not going to be by the Bombers, or is it going to be by the Bombers?
The Bombers will manage that. They, under our agreement with the Bombers, they pay for the cost of applying for permits, and they carry all insurance and all improvements that are necessary to sell alcohol. And they have to work out with with that sponsor of that event, what their compensation will be.
Okay. 2023-26.
I have a motion to approve resolution 2023-26.
Make that motion.
Motion made by Glenn, second by Tim. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Roll call.
Levon.
Aye.
Kaitlyn. Ware.
Aye.
Bounds.
Aye.
McFerrin.
Aye.
5 ayes, no nays.
Next item on the agenda is the firing range lease. Police department obviously working out a lease agreement, basically, so that instead of using the money that they would normally give us for the fire protection, the police protection out there, to allow us to use property that they have to put in a firing range, as well as being used for the fire department to do their training, some of the training out there. You have a copy of the lease agreement, I think, in your board pack, and we just need to have it approved.
The Board of Public Works and Safety already approved it, and since it does involve $3,500 a year, that revenue that the city was getting, and it's going to be exchanged for use of that property, I thought the council ought to be aware of it and consider approving it as well.
Because that money is in the budget to be received. So it'll be an amount that we don't get.
Right, we'll still provide fire protection, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
And police.
in exchange for being able to use that, the police being able, and fire being able to use that, I think it's a half acre or acre and a half or something for a fire.
That's a good location for that, actually. It's 5-year lease?
5-year lease, subject to renewal, and the city's option, unless it's needed for aeronautical purposes.
Okay.
What was the lease amount before?
The airport authority was paying the city $3,500 a year for fire and police protection. Now-
Okay, thank you.
now-
And then has there been any estimates made as to what the cost of developing it to be a safe firing range would be?
I don't have a figure on it, Jeff, but according to Chief Parks, most of the labor and materials are being donated, including some city materials, some city millings from the roads to use as the access road. A lot of excavation work is going to be donated by Love Excavating. And I think there are going to be some materials, wood materials also donated.
Will there be any use of that firing range by anyone other than the police department?
The police department would have control over authorizing that use. It's possible that other law enforcement agencies may request to train there, but that would have to be an arrangement between Huntingburg Police Department and that agency. And it may be for a fee. I think now I'm not sure, but I believe we have to pay a fee to use firing range.
Plus, we have to take our officers out of town.
Yeah, plus our officers leave town.
So we don't have to look at the airport every time we use it for other.
No. It's totally up to
And the other thing we just brought up earlier, that we were discussing earlier, is the fact that it might be a possibility of having the police department get firing school, or gun training safety there at that particular fire range for our citizens too. So that's another positive thing for us.
What I'm really specifically getting at is, would it ever be a public firing range that anybody from the public could go use? Because I think that's opening up a whole different set of issues, safety, but also, I know Jasper's had some issues with their firing range and the development that's gone up around it. And I know that there's property out there that I know that has been looking for developers for some time.
Where this is at, Jeff, would not interfere with that at all right now, as far as looking from a future standpoint, things of this kind. That's why they picked that particular location. It's kind of way back in the corner, so to speak, of where it's located. And as far as the safety issue of that, it's going to be fenced in, and it's going to be under police jurisdiction as far as that type of thing is concerned. So yeah.
It will not be open to the public.
Okay, that's the gist of the question. I know that one of the issues they had at Jasper was the noise, the constant shooting, and then the homes that have developed up around it have, that's happened. There's been a lot of that over the last, 20, 30, 40 years. And now the sound of the bullets all the time, or the shells firing off all the time, has become a bit of an issue for people around. I'm just concerned and trying to make sure that it's not going to be opened up to the public. And if it's occasionally when the police are out there shooting, I'm all for that. Just trying to avoid it becoming a public firing range.
I think we can control that, so that's not a problem, so.
Okay.
To change that, I think it'd have to come back this way anyway.
Exactly.
It'd have to come back to the council and the, everybody,
Yeah.
the airport authority, everybody would have to sign off on it.
Good question, those, yeah.
Board of Public Works have to approve it also, so. All right, so did we,
Is this a resolution?
No, this is just
Just a
approval
resolution.
on the minutes, just approval on
Oh,
the
it's not a
minutes.
resolution?
No, and then a resolution.
okay, just approve, okay. So I have to make a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion made by Steve to approve,
Second.
second by Tim, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Roll call.
Yvonne.
Aye.
Kissling.
Aye.
Ware.
Aye.
Bounce.
Aye.
McFerrin.
Aye.
5 ayes, no nays.
All to keep, on to the south.
Yeah. Towards Kimball.
Away from Kimball? Away from you?
Yeah, to the point south.
That new renovation you had at the place.
Yeah.
Nice with bullet holes in it, right? Next item is the approval to hire 2 new firemen. This has been approved by the Board of Public Works and Safety for these 2 individuals, but it also needs to get the approval from the council. Tony, do you want to present that or anything?
These 2 gentlemen they're grounded in the community. One is in the Army Reserves, and the other one they both have families here. They've been around for a while. Good young men. I can say that now because I'm old. This will put us up to a full roster, and it's been a long time. I don't even know when the last time we had a full roster.
Well, before we extended it,
Yeah.
we had,
Before we-
we've added.
Back when we were
additional firemen in
25.
the past, so.
So-
But they starting off from basic 1, they got to start their training.
Yeah, they would, the reason why I'm trying to get this done now is so that
Class starts.
January, there's an EMS class starting in January, and that's 70% of our runs is EMS, so they could jump in, get their EMS training started, and then in April, I think, is when their fire training would start. So they wouldn't be firefighters until September-ish, but they could be out helping out with the medical runs, which some days is a lot and some days is, but they're 2 good young men.
We need a motion.
Yeah, just a motion to.
I make a motion to approve the 2 applicants that Chief Heim has recommended to us.
Motion made by Glenn,
I'll second it.
second by Steve, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Roll call.
Yvonne. Kissling. Ware.
Aye.
Bounce.
Aye.
McFerrin.
Aye.
5 ayes, no nays.
Full roster.
Next on the agenda is the approval of the 2024 city calendar and holiday schedule. If there's any discussion on it or not, or whether or not it's
It's the same thing.
it's the same thing as always.
I think it's a mirror of last year,
Pretty much so.
Make a motion to approve.
other than the dates.
Motion made by Tim to approve,
I'll second
second by Steve, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Roll call.
Yvonne.
Aye.
Kissling. Ware.
Aye.
Bounce.
Aye.
McFerrin.
it. Aye.
5 ayes, no nays.
And speaking about calendars, we've discussed the fact of moving the December meeting, and since there's only 1 meeting in December, from the 12th to the 19th, which makes it a little bit easier to get the end of the year things done, as well as doesn't put 4 weeks in between council meetings for claims and things of this kind. I don't need a motion or anything, but unless anyone has an objection, we'll make that what we'll be doing for December. No objections?
No objections.
So the next meeting will be December the 19th.
Tom, will you take care of the open door?
Yes. Don Rudekeller. Good evening.
Calendar
Start off with the gas department. Have another 2 new services this month. The application's on file. We did finish up the leak survey we did the month before. I have a sheet there that has the final totals on it. We did cover 34 miles of main. Took 10 days of inspections, 40 hours, 2 men. We had 0 below ground leaks, and we had 47 above ground, very small leaks on meter sets. So that's all been taken care of. And the crew did install 140 of the smart point modules and 15 new meters, which puts us roughly about 1,900 smart meters or modules on our system. So we're nearing the halfway point on the gas. And I need approval for the USDI, the retainer rates for 2024. Have the rates for you. There is an increase for all the rates, a small increase. And that is for the gas department. And USDI is located over in Illinois.
That's just a retainer fee.
But yeah, and the rates, when they come over to do work for us, the new rates,
That's the only ones that do it too, I think,
yeah, they're the only ones
John. So I guess.
qualified to work on our gas system.
How many times do you think they used it this year, 2023?
No, it's probably once a month, ain't it?
They're the only ones that are allowed to bore in our gas lines or gas mains due to the regulations. We can't use a local company. So they gotta come all the way from Illinois to do boring for us. So,
Is that something, maybe another time, but is that something, we can't do that ourselves? We have the machine?
quite a bit of training on it. Boring machine, cost of the machine. I don't know if Jerry, you didn't have any,
Yeah, we do.
you can use local.
We do. We use local bores. We try to use bore machines when we can. That way we don't disturb roadways. If the water main's on the opposite side of the road,
Yeah.
it's, unfortunately, it's a minimum of $1,500 for bore feed, but when you look at that versus what you're gonna put in the road and you're not creating a pothole, it's worth it, in my opinion.
It has been discussed to see if we can get those guys certified. Has that been ever thought about, or is that possible? Or
Why,
so we-
I don't think the independent contractors are interested in it because of the
Liability problem.
liability and the bills you gotta jump and the rates would have
all
to
kind
be,
of regulations through the IURC, you gotta,
they're not used to that.
you know, like,
They don't deal with that, well, we deal with it every day.
yeah.
It would be, it might be advisable to actually
A
study that.
Machine's probably 150,000.
My question was,
$1,500 a day.
what's Jasper do? They do the same thing?
Same thing, they use USDI.
So that possibly an option if we was to ever look at is to maybe explore 2 communities. If that's down the road.
Yeah.
That's
It might not be
probably,
beneficial to do it either, so.
probably a different conversation, but I mean, that's just seems to be,
There's something to look
yeah,
at down the
they
road.
sort of got a monopoly on it, so the rate's the rate.
Yeah.
And that's,
That's from the time they leave their office too,
it's
isn't it?
pretty reasonable, pretty,
2-hour drive.
yeah.
Pay mileage and
Yeah.
the rate.
So do we have an approval for using USDI for the next year?
That's the rates for 2024.
I'll make that motion to use the approval.
Motion made by Glenn.
I'll second it, so I mean, that's what it is.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Roll call?
Dubon.
Aye.
Kissling.
Aye.
Ware.
Aye.
Bounds.
Right.
McFerrin.
Aye.
5 ayes, no nay.
And the long-awaited railroad gas relocation project is now underway. We've been down 231. Got our gas line strung out, welded, in 2 sections welded together, 42-foot sticks. It's gonna be about a 300-foot pole. USDI come over yesterday. Our guys in USDI, we strung out the pipe. They welded the joints together, and then wrapped them. So today they come over with the biggest boring machine. We had to go 12 foot under the rails. So we had to get into the parking lot of the board development and the co-op. They're very gracious in giving us the easements. We had to get the easements. Got all that signed. So we run the bore head through. They got across the tracks or under the tracks. They hit a rock ledge, 12 foot down. They couldn't bring the bore head up in the co-op side, so they're pretty well stuck. So we had to dig down 13 feet. We're gonna dig down 13 feet to where the bore head is and then finish grading out. We don't have any machinery that big, so we got a hold of Cooper rail. They brought their 2 big track loads up. One's got a jackhammer on it. We have to jackhammer through the rock, the ledge, get to the bore head. And then we can finish digging the trench, slowly coming up to where it needs to tie into the old main. Then we can call USDI, they're gonna come over, back ream it, and then pull the gas main back. It's gonna be about a 2-week project, but we got under the tracks, which is the main thing, without hitting rock, but we hit rock on the other side, so.
Over clear the railroad right away.
13 feet under the rail tracks.
That all has to do with the highway department, isn't it?
Yeah, they're gonna do a drainage project there, and the gas main was a 6-inch gas main lying right in the way. That main was put in 1956 without an easement. It was just in the state right of way, so it all has to be moved on our expense. So now we're gonna move over 30 feet, and that's why we had to get easements from U-Boiler Development and the co-op to relocate our gas main.
It's always something, isn't it?
Bill, you weren't there when they put that in, were you?
No, I wasn't.
He was
You
born
worked for the gas
then. He was born then.
I did work for the gas department, but not until 1969.
Okay. Anyway, at least we're under, and Cooper Rail, pretty confident they can get down to it, bust through the rock. So hopefully do that tomorrow, and then USDI come back over probably Thursday. Get the line pulled back through, another week, time everything together.
Does the 6-inch line work over?
6-inch. It's a low pressure, so that way we can go back with a 4-inch steel under the tracks. And by going to 12 feet or more, we don't have to have a sleeve under the tracks. Otherwise, that would really increase the cost. Jack and bore a sleeve in there. As long as it's 12 foot and a steel line, we didn't have to have a sleeve in it.
That's good.
And then, been watching the cost of the gas. It's holding steady right now. All conditions are normal. According to the NOAA forecast, is above normal temps throughout the winter across the nation due to El Nino conditions. So gas rates are holding steady. I got the estimate for November, and it's, you can see in the chart, it's going to be around 460, 470, which is under last year. There's no major pipeline disruptions, no compressor stations going out, conditions. No major storms so far, so.
Not sure you could be talking about it.
Knock on wood over there in Johnson.
It's only 17 weeks till spring, so.
How many days is that?
Any questions on the gas?
I am curious about the leak survey, it's the number of, leak points, is that an average for us, or is that a good average? 47, on the meter set's 47, is that about a normal year, or a normal test?
About normal.
Yeah. I know some of these are very microscopic leaks, I mean,
It's just tightening of the.
tightening nuts on the meter or
nuts.
whatever.
Meter nuts, usually just tighten, snug it up.
They got a gasket or a seal of some kind or something.
Yeah, so it's basically, I just usually conditions, these little movement or something, just tweak it a little bit, and it'll stop it.
Yeah.
And then 47 are not reportable, they're so small. nothing detectable,
Yeah. For below ground, we found nothing.
nothing. So that's very good. And that's 30.
How many people run into the meters with their own little push mower?
Yeah.
Or on tractor.
Push motor, they do foundation work. Where the
Yeah.
ground settles and also pull the meter,
Yeah,
and they cause a little,
little tweak it. Absolutely.
any other questions on the gas?
Back on your, on the meter exchange, will those, meters work for like the Ireland customers? For the meters putting in, the customers
The
over?
census,
Yes.
yeah, whole system.
Did it reach that far?
It's all done by Wi-Fi, I guess.
That's kind of iffy. We checked in, maybe have to put an antenna over near the Texas Eastern substation. Or
Jump
take
it.
off. We're checking into that, we may have to put like a 100-foot pole over there, with the meter, with the antenna on the top.
Okay.
Checking into that, but we get farther down the road with getting everything changed out, we have a better idea.
Yeah, those should read easier than the water meters.
Yeah,
It's around the ground.
but it's still, but the battery life's like 20 years on them. Electric meters are the best because there's no battery or nothing, they're always,
They're always live.
yeah,
It's that power.
a lot more powerful. Anything else on the gas? On the electric side, the 5 new services in this month, 2 of them are duplexes, which are all electric, and a single service. Then the crews finish up the wiring in the alley. I think everybody's seen in the alley by the old overtime bank building. We finished doing all the wiring there. Then crews did cleared some electric lines on areas where you couldn't get, where you get trucks off the road. One area was south of cars. We got 3-phase line back there that runs along the tree line. Crops are out of the ground was hard, so we got in there and did a lot of tree trimming, which will help this winter. And then we worked with the county highway on clearing brush and trees on County Road 200. Bunch of pine trees and brush that over time has grown up, getting within reach 10 feet of our lines. It's in the state county right away. We got a hold of the county, worked with them. They come out with their side mower, kind of mowed along the fence line. We helped haul the brush away. So it's like 3/4 of a mile. So that worked out real good. Thank Steve Bird and the county. They did a real good job. It's always good to work a close working relationship with them. I think about a month before that, they contacted us. They were replacing a culvert, a couple culverts. And when they called their hole in, there was a fiber line running close to their culvert, the old one, gas and communication lines. We took our back machine out. We backed down, we found gas, the fiber line, which was right under the old culvert, so they were real appreciative of that. So it's always good to work together. And the crews replaced 5 poles as DMI lane. As you see, I got some pictures there. Picture A is before, that's the underground that goes to the transformer that feeds the DMI building, or flex steel, I guess you call it now. Picture A was before they did it. Kind of a short pole, everything's real crammed in there tight where it's supposed to work. Picture B is after we got done with it. You can see how clean it is. We made it into a radial cleave that will loop.
Yeah. They go underground there?
Yeah, there's underground primary wires that goes to a pad mount.
Yep.
And then picture C is kind of the difference in the poles when we set poles back there. The old pole is beside the new pole that was set. You can see that how much taller it is, how much bigger it is. So it's a lot stronger. Should hold up. And that was all grown up too before and the street department helped clear that out, so that's a big improvement. And next is the big one. Getting ready to purchase the census electric meters. I got the sheet there that has pretty well the total number of meters and basically what the cost is going to be. That's pretty well the whole system. It's going to be up to the council. That's for 2024. They'll put our order in for next year's meters. On how we want to buy them, how many you want to buy. But this will lock in all the prices for the meters. We can get them in several deliveries. But I wanted to give you a price. How the council wants to proceed with this.
The price is the price. Is there an economic advantage to buying them all at once or buying them less? Or we just gotta,
Whether you don't buy this round, this will lock the price in basically for all the meters. If we don't buy them, in the next round, it may go up $10 a meter. You buy half of them, you're gonna be paying an extra $10,000 to $15,000.
You want to charge for the delivery, is that right?
Not deliveries.
How many whenever they show up?
Yeah. If they deliver 1,000, we'll get billed for 1,000. If they deliver 200, we'll get billed for 200.
right, we don't, it's,
I talked to
pay
Phil.
upon receipt, right?
Yeah. Talked to Phil about this. This is the only company we get them from, or allowed to get them from. That's why I don't have 3 quotes.
No company, no competitor.
So you don't, are we obligating ourselves to buy the 3,673 meters?
No.
So, but then you're locking in the price for whatever we buy at these prices?
Yeah. If we agree to buy this amount, the price will lock in.
Over what time period?
Over the year, next year.
All the whole year?
Yeah.
But if you only end up
If-
buying 2,000 meters,
Yeah.
that's all you do. Yeah, and John was unable to get quotes because this is the only meter system that's compatible with our census meter readers and our software. So it's a single source. The minutes have to reflect that as the reason for not obtaining bids.
Right, it's the only available option that works with our system.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And that's the single point.
Mhm.
So are we obligated to get the 3673?
No.
Or just, we're just saying the fact that
This
We could purchase up to 3673 at this price.
This is our system.
Gotcha.
I mean, you're gonna have a few here and there.
Right.
Just 95% of our, probably what we'll need. But if we don't buy them all, I can call up and say, hey, we only want 2,000 next year. Okay, then the rest of them might get a higher price.
What is the,
And we're eventually gonna buy them. I talked to Tom that, the money is there.
Money's there for all of them?
what's the change out rate on these? I bet you can change.
Yeah.
These things are probably the fastest thing we can change.
Yeah. The paperwork would take longer than changing the meter out. But main thing is working with the building department to see how
They can only do so much.
they can only put in. We work close with them. We can change out as many as they can put in.
Can we sell the old meters?
Check into that. We sold all our old gas modules to Boonville.
So what's your recommendation?
The first batch won't come in until April. End of March, supposedly, and I know Jerry dealt with this from the same company. We may say, hey, I want 1,000 in April, we only may get 200. I think is that how it works?
Yeah, like when we ordered ours, they just came in like he said, and we only got billed for them when we got them. Good thing is you lock them in, and you can cancel that order anytime, correct, John?
Yeah.
That's how the water was.
I mean, I can always say, hey, I want 1,000 next year, but then in 2025, if the meter goes up $10. Usually for the price change, it goes up.
So you got 12 months to, I mean, you could, technically, we could be sitting here a year from now and you say, well, I'm gonna order the balance of our system, whether or not they can deliver them or not. And it might take them 6 months to deliver.
You know, you get like 3 deliveries, set 3 deliveries up.
That's what I was recommended, or seeing what you recommended, is you order a third
Split them up.
and split it up, and then that way we can order the, as Steve said, this time next year, we can order the balance we think we need before our price expires.
Right. I gotta put the order in.
Right.
Right, but I mean, the balance could be put in a year from now. You could put in an order for a third of them now, and a third of them back in August, and then back in November, December next year, say, well, I want the rest now, or whatever.
I can say, hey, I want 1,000 in April, I want 1,000 in
That's our.
August,
Yeah.
I want 1,000 here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But okay, by agreeing to this, it locks the price in.
right.
As long as we have control of the terms, which I'm giving, I have no objections.
It'd just be easy.
I just don't want it all or nothing.
Okay, the price per meter, or
But they're variable prices, aren't they?
Yeah.
you're locking in the price for that meter. That's a different meter we're gonna need.
I think they can approve
The proposal.
the proposal that you submitted, that you attached to board pack, for approval for up to 3,673 census meters at the prices quoted by census.
And delivery upon your request. So you have permission to go ahead and order them, but just get them when you think you can get them. That way we won't have all your money tied up. Right?
Sounds like a motion time.
And in the electric department, the capital expenditures for 2024, this is it. We don't have any other capital
Scheduled.
expenditures for next year. We did order batteries for our north substation in June for $43,266. They haven't come in yet. And I don't want you to go and look for them this December. Something might be the only thing next year.
Would that be encumbered, Tom? Would that amount? So it doesn't have.
It's utility,
It's
it
just
doesn't
utility,
matter.
doesn't matter.
Utility
That's
doesn't
right.
matter.
Banana.
That's
It's not in our
the
budget.
big ticket item.
Right.
The batteries we ordered in June are still not here.
Well, we know the electric department's solid enough, you can go ahead and order them all if you want to, but I'd give him permission to place the order for the 3673, delivery upon his request.
Is that in motion?
That's a motion.
That's in a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Tim. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Roll call?
Dubon.
Aye.
Kissling.
Aye.
Ware. Bounce.
Right?
Barron.
Aye.
5 ayes, no nays.
Yes, sir.
Makes sense.
Questions on the electric?
No, makes sense.
Sounds good.
All right,
Thanks, John. Jerry, the water.
We got that much time?
Good afternoon,
It's evening already.
evening, good night.
Good night.
All right, we'll start with distribution. So the Second Street water main replacement project is fully completed, top to bottom now. We got together with the street department with the asphalt plants, rounding their closure for the year. Due to the weather, with everything they had going on with the alley project and everything else, we banded together with them and jumped in and helped finish paving those 2 blocks of Second Street.
Good job on that, by the way.
We appreciate that.
No, that's a nice patch job, really, it is.
It took 2 full days and probably 10 guys to get it done in 2 full days, but it was all done in-house and they worked great together. So, and then our lead and copper survey that we've been doing, we, up to this point, we've had 99 core drill holes in the asphalt in the roadway. We started that back in March when we received the hydro excavator. Those holes had still been rock capped up to this past month. We, with that, 2 of our guys that's been doing that project we stopped drilling holes and hydro excavating. They borrowed the street department's asphalt hot box, went and got asphalt and hand tamped. Well, they shoveled out the rock and they hand tamped all 99 holes.
Awesome.
So I got to give it to those guys. They worked their butts off this
Sounds like a
past
song of some sort.
Yeah. Yeah. So we got that done. With that, we will still be, today they were out there, still locating and core drilling holes. We try to work ahead with our core drilling. Once we get so many of them done, we'll go back and start pulling cores, hydro excavate, and then pack the holes back. And so, in the asphalt, I can't give you a 100% answer. So 100, we still have just close to 800 yet to do out of the 3,600. We had around 900 to do at the start. So the rest of the 3,600, we were able to pull information off of project records and mapping and tap records with Deviator's department. So we'll still be out there doing that all winter. We'll be locating and core drilling whenever it's below 32 degrees, and we'll be hydro excavating when it's anything above 32 degrees. So.
I have a question, Jerry. How
Yes,
many
sir.
hours is on your hydro excavator?
How many hours?
Yeah,
We just hit 212
that's what I was wondering. You use it a lot.
since March. We have, and you know, we've used it a lot for the lead and copper program. But to be honest, I'm sure John was probably the same way with his guys. I don't know what we do without this thing. We can get jobs done so much quicker. A lot less labor intensive for the guys with water main breaks. The water pressure from the hydro excavator and the oscillating that it does when it sprays the water, it'll peel the scale that builds up off the outside of the metallic water mains, where before we're in there with chisels and hammers and everything else trying to peel that back so we get a repair clamp on there while water's blowing in their faces. And so it's made a big difference for us. We're very grateful for it. And I think it shows that's 212 hours since March. So we really put it to good use.
That's just to do rough math, that's more than 5 40-hour weeks.
Right.
So you're used to 40 hours a week, every minute of every week you've been working for over 5 weeks this year.
Yeah.
That's a lot of use.
It is.
So that's
It's
good.
been great. And we use it for other things. You know, we just, on here, that water main install, or the extension we did on Sunset Drive, the bore underneath the highway there, we were able to save some money with that. We had a local company, Love Excavating, came in that bore for us for that, and being able to use 2 of our guys and that hydro excavator to help with that bore, to be able to suck out that bore mud whenever they're pulling that pipe back. That's money that we're not paying out of pocket to a contractor. So anytime we can do that work in-house, it's always cheaper for the water department and the community for that matter. So it's, in my opinion, it was a very good purchase. With that water main extension down Sunset Drive for fire protection is completely installed. We just got our back tees results today that main has passed. I let Donnie know the fire chief today that water main is in service and that hydrant is good for fire protection. So he's aware of that, and then we'll just, as far as the services go, for the ULR property that was part of that, I know the ULR boys were more than gracious to help pay for some of that. I don't have all of our tickets yet to find out the total price of that contract. Right, yeah. Yeah, nope, I'm waiting on a few more invoices, and as soon as we have that done, we'll have the total for our project. And like Steve said last meeting, they're gonna donate 50% of the cost up to $25,000. So there was some interest there with their development as well.
How many taps will they have on that?
There'll be 3 residential and then the 1 commercial 2-acre lot up front, which, depending on the business, a lot of businesses nowadays are going with sealed foam fire suppression systems, so they don't require water service for their fire protection. But there's a lot of businesses that still use water sprinkler systems, so that was the intent for that. You know, it's the main intent for the water main was for the fire protection for the residents that are still in city limits. but also for that as well. So that's where the water boys are willing to pitch in on the project.
Is that dead end there?
Unfortunately, it does. That's our water territory. With that expansion there, our water territory technically ends on the north side of Sunset at the ditch line where we stopped at the fire hydrant. Everything to the south of that and to the east of that is St. Henry Water. They are not, their water system, they're not able to provide fire protection with their flows and pressures and stuff. So they're not able to provide anybody on that line with fire protection really. So that's why we put that in for city of Huntingburg residents.
It's also convenient if there would happen to be a major fire on that side of the road, you're not stopping the highway traffic.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a plus for the city.
It is.
Bringing it to the east side there.
It is. We try, anytime we can keep from installing a dead end water main, we try our hardest. Anytime a dead end water main is put in place, you have to factor in how many customers are on that line, what it's used for, and how much that water is going to be turned over. If the water sits in that pipe and it's never turned over, it goes in the pipe, it doesn't come back. So that water has to be used and turned over in order for that water to stay what I would call good water. Disinfectant only lasts for so long, and it disintegrates, and there's always the issue of that too. We flush our hydrants, our dead end mains. We flush all of our hydrants in the city twice a year. Our dead end mains, we usually try to do a little more often than that, just for that reason, to help keep fresh water pulled through. Me and Mr. Hahn just spoke about this today as well. This one, until there's services put on there. Anytime that they do any fire training that uses water, they're going to fill up out there off that main to help keep that water turned over for the community.
Ideal. A question you probably thought of, but is that capable, you put that valve in to drain the water tank out there to suck back out of the water tank. Is it capable of pulling out of that line as well?
No, so on a dead end main, once that water is pushed into that main, it won't be pulled back out just due to the water hydraulics. The water takes the easiest path of resistance, so it'll always be there. That water coming around there's a 245s there, and it'll just pass right by that pipe.
Open the hydrant.
Yep.
All you can do.
That's exactly right. We also, this month, we relocated 3 meter pits on the east 400 block of First Street. The street department, I don't believe I haven't been down that road to be honest, so I don't know if it's in place yet, but they are installing a sidewalk there for the community to have
They're still forming.
access, are they? Okay. I knew they were doing some tile work there in the backyards before they started on the sidewalk. I wasn't sure where they were at with that. But there was 3 water meter pits that would have been halfway into the sidewalk. Anytime we can keep those out of the sidewalk and driveways is best for us and the resident in case any work is needed to be done. And then we had a failed service line on the west 100 block of 4th Street. The water was leaching through the pavement about 250 feet down from the service line. That was the cause of the water. It was running in a storm drain. We were able to get with wastewater. They brought their camera out. We ran it up the storm drain and found where the water was coming in to our system at. We never would have thought it would have came from that far. Path of least resistance. So they were able to do that. Once they got us in the vicinity, we were able to use that listening device that we purchased months past, and we were able to find that it was that service line, which kept our excavation at a minimum. Normally your gut instinct, water's coming out of the road, that's where you're digging, and so
Would have been a lot of digging.
yeah, we're very thankful, like John said, the way that all the inner city departments and outer city departments work together. Other than that, distribution with the winters here, the guys have been winterizing our equipment and buildings out there at the water plant. That is all distribution. Our water filtration plant is running as best as we can hope, and we did pump sludge this month out of our sludge basins to the drying beds. We also, with that, the drying beds have to be sanded anytime that sludge is pumped to the drying beds. So wastewater brought their dump truck out, and I guess it would be a salt spreader, but they use it for sand only. And we were able to sand our drying beds with their help on that, and got the sludge pumped out of the sludge basins into the drying bed. That sludge, all it is dirt from the lake. It's the dirt that's brought in with the water during the water treatment process. We have a chemical that coagulates, it sticks it together like glue, it falls at the bottom, and then when we do our washouts to the plant, it gets washed out there. And we're figuring this is the second time we've done it, and this will be a one-time-a-year project for us. We send it to drying beds, it dries, hopefully we have a few dry months, it dries quicker than it did last time. And then IDIM allows us, being that we're inner city with the waste department all underneath one name, we haul our solids to wastewater to their drying bed pile, and then they applicate it on the fields whenever they have enough to take out and applicate on the fields. Our metering system, another thing with that, John was talking about how the gas is doing great and the electric will do even better. We were told when the system was started, once electric and gas starts switching meters over to census, our meters will read better. They all piggyback off the signals of each other. So the water meters are in the ground. We used to have a lot of stales every week. There'd be multiple meters that wouldn't read. Since John's crew's been putting in gas meters, our signals piggyback off those gas meters, and we've had maybe at minimum 1 or 2 stales a week since he's got his system in. And they tell us that it'll get better once he starts his electric meters, due to the fact that they're not battery powered, they're self-powered, and they can send out a stronger signal. So metering system is really doing great. Another thing on there, I know I've talked about it in the past, about our large diameter meters. Now that we've got our residential side complete, we have ordered a small amount of those, and I was notified February that they will be delivered February 2024. We take that with a grain of salt, but hopefully we can start getting the ball rolling on that. Other than that, I do have some other business here. I added some information with the board pack. Myself, Phil Schneider, Mayor Swinghammer, and Tom Dipple, we met and spoke about it. It was kind of presented to us. We met, had our own little discussion about it, and decided that it needed to be presented to you guys. The other business is a north water main extension north of Huntingburg, out of city limits and out of Huntingburg water territory. Currently, the furthest we go north in this vicinity is Phoenix Drive and Main Street by Utility Supply. With that, there is 15, I don't want to say all residents because 3 of them are businesses, but there's 15 properties north of Phoenix Drive down the highway towards the Woods Bottoms, ending at DNA Metals. In the past, it has been brought up, the past superintendents have looked into the issue. Not only the disinfectant issue of keeping clean water out there, like I was saying earlier, about keeping that water turned over due to it is such a long run. We've got issues with disinfectant. We have hurdles of elevation issues out there. I included an elevation chart in that board pack. The town only runs on head pressure from our water towers. So the further we get away from water towers, the lower our water pressure gets, the lower our flow rates get. With that being said, that is a big issue with extending a water main out there as well. And also just the sheer cost of the project. In the past, I was told by the previous superintendent, we have discussed this in-house and came up with a what we feel is a viable solution, and the customers at that time thought was a viable solution. We have a city easement at the intersection of Kings Drive and Main Street on the northwest side there. Currently, we have set 5 water meter pits there for customers up there to have city water. I believe it's not the best practice due to the fact that it's outside of city limits, and I know that's one of the only things that we have to annex areas into the city is our utilities. But, you know, we try to do our best to provide everybody with potable drinking water. So that's what's happened in the past. I know it started before the superintendent before me. We just had 2 homeowners this year have meter pits set down there. It's kind of the same process. They pay their tapping fees depending on the meter size they want. We set the water meters, and then it's their responsibility to get their easements and right-of-ways from the landowners and pay to have their service line put in. 2 residents out there just did it this year. They were ecstatic that they were able to do it, that it was a possibility, and it is costly. We had a resident reach out that owns a house out in that area that has asked about installing a water main again. I brought it up to Phil and Tom and the mayor. We spoke about it, and we came to the conclusion that it needs to be brought to the board. Like I spoke before about Sunset Drive, dead-end water mains are detrimental to the community. If we would go to run a water main out there for fire suppression to supply the businesses out there at the end of that water main, it would have to be an 8-inch water main due to the elevation changes in order to keep enough water out there to adequately provide that. With that being said, I do have a chart in here on page 5 of the first packet that shows on the dead-end water main, and I did various sizes, 4, 6, and 8-inch, just to show the difference in them. But I showed what volume of water is in a half-a-mile water main. So that's not even 2 B&A water. Versus the daily usage of the residents. We got that. We took 5 residential families of 4 in the community already and found that they use anywhere from 1,000 to 1,500 gallons of water a day. So with that, I was able to figure out how much water would be flushed on the ground with an automatic flusher at the end of that water main in order to keep that water turned over to keep it good with disinfectants. With an 8-inch water main, a half a mile, we would waste anywhere from $45 to $50 a day. If we extend the full mile out to B&A to provide water protection on dead-end water main, it would be anywhere from $90 to $100 a day that we would be flushing on the ground there. Not only that, but during our summer months, we're pushing our water plant hard. So my suggestion for a water main extension out there would be a loop system. I've included pricing on that, very rough pricing. The prices that I've included do not include any fire hydrants, no fittings, no tracer wire for that pipe. Other than that, it is literally just the plastic water main and the labor to put it in. It's the 8-inch loop system. They said the rough number is almost, and I failed to put another jack and bore in there to get back underneath the highway, so I apologize, my typed number is wrong. It would bring that total almost to $700,000. With that being said, anytime we spend money like this, whether it's a low interest rate loan, that money is still held against us, and that still reflects on utility rates anytime we do a utility rate adjustment. So with that being said, we have created a way to offer these residents water with putting water meter pits at Phoenix and Maine. if the council finds that they want to put this water main in against my, my suggestion, that would be, you know, it is what it is at that time. But I would like to bring to light that, with that being said, that money that's taken out of that water main for these 10 residents, because 5 of them are already on city water, that will play a very big factor in utility rates when we do utility rate adjustment for those 10 residents that are outside of city limits and outside of the water district. I'm not-
Will it will it reflect just for those, or for the
No,
whole system?
it'll reflect the whole community, anybody that is on city water.
And you have a different rate for people outside the system?
We do
We do have.
a rate for that.
I mean, I thought we did already.
Yeah, it's a 25% surcharge, but you're limited on how much differential you can have.
Are you limited?
It's a real limited, I think we're at the max now, we can't have more than 25% differential, even though it's costing more to serve you.
Yeah, I mean, that's.
But I think it looks like there's just some engineering impracticalities here, stagnant water, elevations.
The elevation's pretty significant.
Right, it is.
So you result in water pressure issues, and of course, in order to resolve some of that, you gotta loop the system, which makes it twice as expensive. Now, Indiana law does say that if an applicant wants water, and it's feasible, and in this case, we have to determine whether it's even feasible, but if it's feasible, then the city's only responsibility is to extend the water main free of charge by an amount equal to 3 times the estimated revenues from the applicants who are applying for that extension. So on page 5 at the bottom, Jerry has calculated that from those 10 residents, the annual revenue from those applicants would be about $2,000 a year. So our only obligation would be to extend $6,000 worth of line, and they would have to put the money up front to pay for the balance. And then they could recoup that by tap charges from any future people that tap onto that system over a period of 10 years. But as you can see, if we're talking about close to $700,000, a long time, they never recoup that. And I don't think they'd be willing to put up the almost $700,000 to extend the main.
Question too, if we extend this main, then the people who just ran their own expense would be.
You're gonna have some very unhappy, we're gonna have 5 very unhappy customers.
And that's another reason why it's a policy decision that the board makes, but it's another reason why it's not a good idea to start running service lines all over the countryside. Because when it comes time to actually extend your system, you've got service lines all over the place that won't tap into that extension and help pay for it.
And I can't say that this hasn't, I don't know if this has ever been brought to the council in the past, maybe before your time, when this was made, somebody made a decision to put these services down at Phoenix Drive, and, all the superintendents since has just kind of followed in line with that's just how we've done it for years.
Are these meter pits out by the highway or at the other end?
They are directly in the corner of the intersection at Phoenix and Main Street on Mr. Kirstein's property.
On the corner of Kirsten.
Yeah, and they're, it's the customers that just put the 2 services in this year, they live almost directly across from the jet training facility. And they ran their 2 service lines from down there. I spoke with the gentleman about it. The 2 landowners that they did have to cross there for easements were more than happy to give them their easements so they could get potable water. I don't believe there would be any issues with that. Like Phil said, is it a good idea to run service lines all over the country? No, it's not. But if it's something that we want to continue to offer, I think that's our best viable option, honestly.
Would it be something that the council might want to table and take
I think we should table
into
to
things
see.
of this kind? Absolutely. There's a lot of that information.
There's a lot of
Right,
that,
yeah,
yeah.
definitely. There's a lot of information.
Things.
The thing that would make us real feasible is that field to the west side of the highway or east side of the highway would be developed in the alley, and then it would make it feasible.
Right.
But, you know what I'm saying, if you're going north.
Oh, yeah,
Anything on the east side of the
East
road,
side of the highway,
right.
that'd be a subdivision, then that'd be,
there'd be ample reason
And
to
it will
extend.
be turned over to the city, you put city limits?
yes.
Well, we have to, it'd be annexed. or whatever.
Right.
So was that to put, we don't need a motion that we
No, just.
table until.
I think we need to table and study a little harder, but I sort of agree with Jerry, it's not feasible for, unless we can find some money. We can't put that rate on the rest of the citizens.
Like I said, I do have a resident that did approach us with this, so if it's okay with you, I'll let him know the decision that, we're gonna table it, and
We're still studying it.
you want me to, right?
We're not getting rid of it, we're just saying, in fact, we need to look into it. There's a lot of
This is
information
a
throughout.
very,
Oh, yeah, it's a lot, and that's, I mean, if it needs to be, if you want hard physical numbers, I can get with, get with an engineering firm, and we can, I hate to do that, I hate to get with an engineering firm and spend all that money,
Cost you money.
because it is money up front that we would have to pay that, potentially could be thrown away, but, that's why I didn't throw fire hydrants in there and everything else. I thought that number was pretty astronomical myself, just for the pipe. We try not to install water mains unless we can provide fire protection. The city has not installed anything under a 6-inch water main for years. And just for that reason, we're pulling 4-inch water mains out of the system to provide better fire flow and better fire protection for our community. That's 2nd Street. 2 of those blocks were 4-inch water mains. That was, not only were they constantly a problem, but the 3rd block of water main actually there that we did, the replacement for that we did while we were in those 2 blocks was to remove that 4-inch to up our water pressure and our water flow for fire protection for the community. With that being said, with doing this water main expansion here, with the possibilities of, depending on how it's funded, potentially costing the paying customers of our community. We've got a lot of water mains in town that need to be replaced. We've still got a lot of water main breaks every year of water mains in town that need to be replaced. So, that's spending that kind of money out there. It's going to put all that to a halt quick. We don't have a lot of money to throw out there.
Be a little different if this was in the city limits too.
Yeah.
Correct. And that's what I don't want to see. I don't want to see our citizens in the city limits.
Now, the U.S. Department of Agriculture through Rural Development, they'll tell you there's money available to do this kind of extension, but those loans have to be run through the municipality, so the municipality's on the hook for them. Its homeowners are on the hook for it.
yeah, we are.
Correct.
So, I mean, you're gonna hear that, there's money available to do it, but it's money that we have to pay as a community.
It's a loan, not a grant.
It's a loan.
Yeah, they're not,
It's a loan, not a grant.
It's exactly right.
I do want to stress though, the money is always, it's always, an issue. But our big issue here is our disinfectant. There's potential, without talking to an engineer and actually putting it on paper, there could be potential to where we need to put a chlorine booster station in out there, where we have to put chlorine in out there daily. With that, there's maintenance on that. We've got to have people out there daily checking on that to make sure it's operational. There's a lot more with it than just the cost, and that's, I don't want to sit here and beat the number to death because it's a big one, but there's a lot to go into it, a lot to think about.
Is there as much of a disinfectant issue with those service lines, that
So
distance, or is that less?
the service lines, well, they're using smaller service lines that ran to their house, so they're going to use that water in a day.
Okay.
The amount of water in their service lines. The city does not size service lines.
Yeah.
Anytime somebody calls and asks us to size for a house or business, we advise them to contact a plumber. We do not know their water usage. We don't know what they're using it for. So we let them work with the plumber on that to size their service lines. So, that's every resident gets with a plumber. They plumb the service line to the proper size of the house, so there's no issues with that. So, we kind of stay out of that side of it, so we're not held liable for anything as far as the service line being too big and then not turning the water over in that service line. We know that we can provide water right to the meter pit. It's good water. We can, we are required to provide 20 at a minimum of 20 PSI to a resident. So anytime we do put a service in, we have to check the PSI rating. And if it doesn't meet the 20 PSI minimum rating, we can't provide them water. We have to shut the service off, and it's dead at that point. We have not run into that. even the services that are out there that they put in themselves, and granted, we're talking about smaller diameter service lines, you know, they're happy with their pressure, just out of city water. There's, you know, some of them I spoke with, there's a little bit of a decrease in pressure versus their well pumps, but they've got water every time they turn the tap on, and know it's fresh, clean water.
Well, I think, like I said before, we're going to table this right now as far as that's
Right.
going to appreciate the information. And I'm sure that if council has any questions too, then.
Yeah, feel free to
look at all
reach
this,
out.
Just to reach out to Jerry and
Yep.
check with that. And then we'll address it at either the next council meeting or the following one after that, to make sure we've got all the facts ready to go before we decide what's going to happen. Does that sense for everybody?
Sounds good.
Mr. Mayor,
All right, that's all I have tonight.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
That's
you.
all.
Good job on that before.
23 pages, if that's all.
Bill,
Nothing.
Tom,
I have nothing.
I have two other items, basically, before we get out of here. One, I think was the last council meeting, Destination Huntingburg presented a proposal and asked for an increase in the normal amount that we normally give them from $20,000 to $30,000 to help pay for a full-time, I guess, executive director and that type of thing, to move forward with some of the projects or things we're trying to do. We had put that into the budget already at $30,000. We just need to verify the fact that we said we were going to discuss it. If everybody's in agreement to do that, I guess is what I need to find out for sure.
It's currently a part-time and we want to make it a full, they want to make
They
it.
will make full-time to do more projects and things of this kind for our, and actually to work together more with the downtown merchants.
Well, that's-
So we're giving them 20 now.
We're giving them 20,
which
which
we
we're
have.
going to, right.
I don't have a particular problem with that, but the last part, I didn't want them to be more in cohesive with the merchants.
Right. And I
So
think
we're-
they're
so
trying to
we're-
do that. I think they're trying to combine the two organizations anyway to a certain extent, so I think that's a good idea, so.
I do too, I think that's,
Which we have had in the past, a contract or some kind of agreement that.
We would need to have that printed up for that, right? To have an agreement for that.
Should.
But I just need to prove from you all to do that type of thing, so.
I'll make that motion.
Got that motion made by Steve,
I'll say.
second by Tim, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Roll call?
Dubon.
Aye.
Kissling.
Aye.
Ware.
Aye.
Bounds.
Sleep.
He said aye, we didn't want.
Aye, here we go.
McFerrin.
Aye.
5 ayes, no nays.
The last thing, and it's been brought up about, there are some issues as far as competitive nature, as far as ranges of salaries and things are concerned. And all I wanted to bring up tonight basically was the fact that I think we need to look into it. I think we're very competitive in most of our departments, but there seems to be maybe an issue with maybe one or two that we need to really look into as far as our ranges are concerned to make sure we stay competitive. I would motion the fact that discussing that we kind of get some chance to look into that a little further to make sure what we're doing and we compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges as to benefits and things of this kind also. So that would be my recommendation as far as the discussion is concerned.
Second.
Okay?
So, that being said, we'll talk about that by the next meeting.
Sure. Okay. Sounds good to
Your
me.
information again.
Yep. Sounds good. Anything else from the council? Anything from the citizens? And Dan, you got anything?
Nothing. How about this young lady right here?
Malia, would you like to say anything?
Want to give an update on what you guys been talking about right now? Take the
Next time we'll do that.
Very well.
Okay. With that, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Roll call?
Dubon.
Aye.
Kissling.
Aye.
Ware. Bounds.
Aye.
McFerrin.
Aye.
5 ayes.
Surprised Jeff will aye.
He's comfortable.
He's good. Yeah, he'll stay on for whatever.
Hey, at least you're not in your lazy boy, Jeff.
Not that we can see.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Merry
Good
Christmas.
night.